language which speaks of things much less easily. Now, myth always comes under the heading of meta-language. The depoliticization which it carries out often supervenes against the background which is already naturalized, depoliticized by a general meta-language which is trained to celebrate things and no longer to act them. It goes without saying that the force needed by myth to distort its object is much less in the case of a tree than in the case of a Sudanese. In the latter case, the political load is very near the surface. A large quantity of artificial nature is needed in order to dispense it. In the former case, it is remote, purified by a whole century-old layer of meta-language. There are therefore strong myths and weak myths. In the former, the political quantum is immediate, the depoliticization is abrupt. In the latter, the political quality of the object has faded like color. What is more natural than the sea? And what is more political than the sea celebrated by the makers of the film The Lost Continent? In fact, meta-language constitutes a kind of preserve for myth. Men do not have with myth a relationship based on truth but on use. They depoliticize according to their needs. Some mythical objects are left dormant for a time. They are then no more than vague mythical schemata whose political load seems almost neutral. But this indicates only that their situation has brought this about, not that their structure is different. This is the case with our Latin grammar example. We must note that here mythical speech works on a material which has long been transformed. The sentence by Aesop belongs to literature. It is at the very start mythified, therefore made innocent, by its being fiction. But it is enough to replace the initial term of the chain, for an instance, into its nature as language object to gauge the emptying of reality operated by myth. Can one imagine the feelings of a real society of animals on finding itself transformed into a grammar example, into a predicative nature? In order to gauge the political load of an object and the mythical hollow which espouses it, one must never look at things from the point of view of the signification, but from that of the signifier, of the thing which has been robbed. And within the signifier, from the point of view of the language object, that is, of meaning. There is no doubt that if we consulted a real lion, he would maintain that the grammar example is a strongly depoliticized state. He would qualify as fully political the jurisprudence which leads him to claim the prey because he is the strongest, unless we deal with a bourgeois lion who would not fail to mythify his strength by giving it the form of a duty. One can clearly see that in this case the political significance of the myth comes from its situation. Myth, as we know, is a value, is enough to modify circumstances, the general and precarious system in which it occurs, in order to regulate its scope with great accuracy. The field of myth is in this case reduced to a second form of the French lycée. But I suppose that a child enthralled by the story of the lion, the heifer and the cow, and recovering enough through the life of the imagination the actual reality of the animals, would appreciate with much less unconcern than we do the disappearance of this lion changed into a predicate. In fact, we hold this myth to be politically insignificant, only because it is not meant for us.